How you doing, and welcome to my channel. As you can see today, I'm taking a look at the Batman modern suit from The Flash by Hot Toys. And more importantly, what I'm looking at today is the cape, as it is a really poor quality cape from Hot Toys. In my opinion, probably one of the worst. For not only quality, but accuracy. Just starting at the top there, as this part was coined the Bat Bib. We have this really shiny bib-like part at the front, which is completely inaccurate to the movie. It doesn't look like that in the movie at all. Hot Toys really cut their corners on making this bit accurate, and it just makes displaying them with this head sculpt just really poor looking, really bad looking, and really inaccurate to the movie. Not to mention the quality of the cape. The stitching isn't great at all. As you can see here, the stitching on this side here is much neater than this side. There's kind of a bigger gap and a bigger overlap. It's a wider stitch. Not to mention that the bat bib part that's glued on has started to kind of come free on my one. It's started to come away from the cape, which is a little bit unsatisfactory. You can see it rippling up there and just doesn't look very nice at all. The cape is wired, that's why it looks like this. I say wired, but none of the wires are strong enough to actually get a dynamic pose out of it. They don't hold very well at all, and trying to get, a kind of a dynamic pose out of it is absolutely not happening. It's terrible. It's not effective at all. I'm just trying to kind of make it into a dynamic pose there, like it's blowing in the wind, and it doesn't do it. It's not happening. It doesn't hold. It looks ridiculous. It looks terrible. No matter what way I try and kind of futz with it to make it look dynamic or look like it's blowing in the wind, it just doesn't happen. As you can see there, it's just the wires just aren't strong enough to hold it up. It's neither, in my opinion, it's neither a drape cape nor a functioning wired dynamic posable cape. So the material is really thin. It's made of kind of a faux leather pleather kind of material. It's accurate, it's got that smooth look to it. It's accurate to the movie, but it just does not do the job that it's intended for at all. Trying to get it to pose down without doing that kind of flared out at the bottom triangular kind of shape to it is virtually impossible. As you can see, I'm trying to get it all kind of tucked in and make it look like it's draping a little bit, and it just doesn't do the job. It's not great at all. It's very unsatisfactory. So what I got my hands on was the Jaxon Xu drape cape. Now, straight off the bat, I think Jaxon Xu cut corners himself. The front of it here isn't accurate to the movie. As much as it is better looking than the Hot Toys one, it's not entirely accurate to the movie. So let's throw this on him anyway and see what it looks like on him. And here we have the Jaxon Xu cape on him, with obviously the uncowled head sculpt on him. And as I mentioned a moment ago, the Jaxon Xu one isn't entirely accurate either. It's no more accurate than the Hot Toys one. It's way more subtle. The bat bib on the Jaxon Xu one is way more subtle. It's not that glossy kind of pleather. It's not shiny, it's not as prominent as the Hot Toys one, but it's definitely not accurate. It's not accurate to the movie, which is a bit of a disappointment from Jaxon Xu. In order to get it to kind of, if you want it hanging over his shoulders, like it is in scenes in the movie. Now, in the scene where he hasn't got the cowl on, it is tucked back over his shoulders at the back a little bit like that, and that looks absolutely fine. That's okay. There's no problem with that. No issues there. But if you do, which I'll do later on when we have the cowl on him, if you do want to have it kind of sitting over his shoulders a little bit, his gauntlets or his shoulder pads in the movie, it doesn't quite sit right. You get this kind of shape here, as you can see. It's not cut quite right. There should be kind of a curve in it to bring it around there, and Jaxon Xu has just cut it straight across. And it has this kind of lump or unnatural flow to it. It doesn't contour to his body. It should come down like that and contour to his body a bit more. So a little bit of a disappointment there. If you do roll it back a little bit, it does sit right. But I think in the movie the cape covered his shoulder pads a bit more than that. Somebody can correct me in the comments, but I'm pretty sure it covered them a bit more. But as for draping, it does its job. It drapes far, far better than the Hot Toys one. And at the back here, I do have a couple of little gripes with the back of it for posing it with this head sculpt, if I can get him to stand up. Yeah, the centerpiece here, the center line that runs down, although the centerpiece at the bottom is in between his legs, just here, it does come up at a slight little angle. It's off a little bit, and if I want to line the centerpiece or the center line, right down the middle at the back from the seam line that's on his back, then it completely throws off the hole where his head goes in. You can see it completely throws it off. It pushes it all over to the left and doesn't sit right at all. Not the end of the world, as we're not going to be looking at the back of it. It's going to be facing forward, so it's not the end of the world, but it just is a small little gripe. But just looking how it drapes at the back, it does drape far, far better than the Hot Toys one, and it does kind of come down in a more natural kind of flow rather than triangling out at the bottom like the Hot Toys one. And even from the side profile there, it definitely drapes far better. And I will mention that the material that Jaxon Xu has used is that kind of cracked material, a cracked kind of pleather material, which I don't think is accurate to the movie. I think it's a smooth kind of leather that he uses. But it is far, far better than the Hot Toys one. I mean, for draping, it is far, far better. The Hot Toys one is absolutely useless. But what I'll do now is I will put the cowl on him and we'll do a side-by-side view on him. I'm just not entirely happy with that. Like I said again, just pulling it back like that again, just to get it a bit more accurate, or flowing over his shoulders a bit better. But I do believe in the movie it does cover his shoulder pads a bit more than that. We'll just have a look at the cowl version, I suppose, first. And here we have him with the cowl on. And I have to say, in my opinion, this is how Jaxon Xu intended on this cape being displayed or being posed with the head sculpt on, with the cowl, with this sculpt on. It doesn't look the best. It doesn't sit very well, and it's not entirely accurate. So I do believe that this is how Jaxon Xu intended on this cape being displayed or used with the cowl on, which is a little bit unfortunate, because I would have liked, it should have been able to be posed with both sculpts on, really, and made it a bit more accurate. I do believe that Jaxon cut some corners a little bit there on the front piece, but just looking at it with the cowl on, it's not so prominent an issue. Is the way it flows over the shoulder pads doesn't look as bad as without the cowl on. It sits okay, that's absolutely fine, I suppose. There's no issues there. A little bit of futzing needing to get it that way, but it does certainly drape a whole lot better than the Hot Toys one. And just taking a quick look at the back, if I can get him to stand up. There we go. No. Come on. Stand up. Why won't he? He's fighting with me here. He won't stand up. There we go. Yeah, it looks a little bit sloppy at the back. You can see the rubber piece of the pleather piece, whatever it is, that's where, you know, around the neckline, it does need a little bit of futzing just to tidy that all up. The center line does run down the center this time around with the cowl on, because lining up the hole isn't necessary, you know, because the cowl is covering up the hole where his neck goes in, so it's easier to futz and get more in line. As I said, I do believe that Jaxon modelled it around the Cowl version and not the Keaton head sculpt, and it definitely drapes far better. It looks really, really nice there. But like I said, with the cowl on, it definitely looks better. I'm not 100%, guys. Maybe somebody can tell me in the comments, but I do believe... Come on, stand up there. He's really fighting with me to stand up. Whether, you know, should more of the cape go over the shoulder pads? I think in the movie it was covered more. I'd be inclined to say it was slightly more covered over the shoulder pads in the movie, but I might be wrong. But, you know, as for the drape, that looks absolutely superior to the Hot Toys one. But unfortunately, with the Michael Keaton sculpt on, that cape doesn't really look as good. It looks better than the Hot Toys one, but it doesn't look, you know, as good as it could have. But as I said earlier, I'm gonna have a quick side-by-side with the Jaxon Xu and the Hot Toys one next to each other. And here we go. Very, very, very different look. I mean, that Jaxon Xu one on the left just completely elevates the figure and makes it look far more realistic and way less toyish. I do really love this modern suit. I think it's absolutely, anybody who's seen my review of it, I think it is a really, really, really awesome suit. Shame the movie wasn't so good. But yeah, the drape on the Jaxon Xu one compared to even looking at the side view there, the Hot Toys one is just a hot mess is what it is. It's an absolute hot mess. Even trying to kind of futz with it there to get it, you know, looking a bit more flowing nicer, and it just doesn't happen. The one on the left, the Jaxon Xu one, is far, far superior, guys. There is the Kelly Studio one out there that is possibly more accurate again. On the bib part, I think if you want to pose him, you know, with the Keaton head sculpt on, I think maybe the Kelly Studio one is the one to go for, and I am going to pick that one up and review that one, I think, at some point. But as for now, because I do pose him with the cowl on, I don't pose him at all with the Keaton head sculpt, which is a bit of a shame because it's such an amazing head sculpt. The Jaxon Xu one is absolutely fine if you exclusively want to pose him with the cowl sculpt on. If you want to pose him with the Keaton sculpt unmasked, I think maybe possibly you should go for the Kelly Studio one, if that is your preference. But there you go, guys. There is the Jaxon Xu Drape Cape Z24 for the modern suit Batman. I'm going to leave you with a couple of images there. Thanks very much for watching the video, and if you haven't already, please don't hesitate to hit that like and subscribe. Thanks a lot and take care.